Previously on Glue Factory.
I think I've told you this before, but for context, the first time my dad met you and he said you have the voice of a much taller man.
His voice is quite incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, I'm aware.
Does he do voiceover work?
I mean, I have pushed him into so many. I think he should.
We should get him doing this.
I think I'm.
They think they've left behind the Nazi towel selection, but the
want-
discussion
sorry.
will come back
Are
later.
you suggesting
He dubs you.
I don't want to date this episode just because obviously it's going to come out later. But I was buying a Valentine's Day card for my one and only.
Yeah, in
And-
Easter. Your Valentine's Day card for Easter.
As you should.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, there are just no nice ones. I know I'm not the first person to make this observation, but every single one of them is like, to the old ball and chain, I fucking hate you.
Where are you buying your Valentine's Day cards, though?
I'm not going to tell you.
No, because I think there's
Tell you what
a.
my supplier.
I go to Rodney Dangerfield's for mine. The woman who doesn't respect me.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you now on the 2nd of January. Still got 5 weeks to find out.
But there's a thing about a modern card shop, and I think this is.
Yeah, Scribner or whatever it's called. That's
like
what I
all these like high end. You're getting a lovely illustration, and you're buying a £4 card, and that's very, very nice. But it's always going to be the most horrible messaging you've ever seen. But the best best messaging does exist out there still.
It's probably like a supermarket.
You just have to go to Tesco. You just
Oh,
have to go
really?
to Tesco, and you'll find a My Loving Wife card. And
Which
then
I
it'll have,
received.
it'll have a 6-page booklet of pre-written messages in there for men who do not know how to express emotion. There is a spectrum.
Oh, like a Nan card where it's got a little bit of the fold-out paper inside. It's like the worst poem you've ever read.
My mother always does that.
Riley just wants to remind everyone about the kind of lifestyle that he lives.
She's loath to waste a card. It is one of her sort of... So when she buys a card, she will give you the card, but because she doesn't want to consume the card and wants you to be able to use the card, she will write her message on a piece of paper, fold it up in the card.
Oh my God.
That's the sweetest thing I've ever heard.
And she listens to this, so she's going to be like, oh, I do that.
Oh, that's about me, Mickey Mouse. When I send a Valentine's Day card to Minnie, I like it to be reusable.
Oh, that's so
And then
cute.
so whenever I give her a card, I also always write a message
Aw.
on a folded piece of paper so she can reuse the card.
On you.
That's so lovely.
And then we only have to buy one card.
I've been using the
got
same
the
one
one.
since 2009.
Yeah, we've been keeping it going, keeping the money moving back and forth.
Can you trace your lineage to Yorkshire at all? Is that
I think that's the Scottish side of the family, if that helps.
oh, we're from Little Yorkshire, Toronto.
Basically-
Four guys from Cape Breton.
Yeah.
I ain't had nothing. That's right, from Brooklyn, Cape Breton.
You want to come over? I got fresh pudding.
Yeah. Friend of ours from the other side, one of the Totten guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hey, up, Don.
Listen, I ended up getting you a card which was like 2 spoons spooning, which was very cute. It was a cute illustration. And then
sure.
just literally crossing out the message because it was so mean.
What did it say?
It was like, I'm
Fuck
too
you.
hot now. That's enough. I'm too hot now. Like, as in, like, spooning is too warm. And it's
Yeah.
like, why are we doing this?
It's right, though.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Look.
Not for
It's,
spoons.
when you say I love you forever, it's probably not true either.
Let's see what the gang make of that one.
But you're not.
Good to know. Good to know.
I love to sit next to my boyfriend and admit it's temporary.
I bought a card that said "I love you forever," and I had to score that out.
Score out love.
I love you a reasonable amount of time.
I, scoring out the I. We.
I love you for years max.
That's why, hey, let's call Scrivener. We have a new mean card for them. A new unpleasant card that someone can receive through sort of gritted teeth. Like,
Wait, Scrivener? Well, who's like the assistant of the old man
Wait,
who owns the card shop.
what's
Scrivener! Bring me the card ideas!
what is the name of the novelty card?
Scrivener.
Scrivener. My assistant Scrivener. These Valentine's Day cards are awful.
Hey, you boy.
It's just a,
Why? It's Valentine's Day, sir. Go get me the biggest box of chocolates they have in Thornton's.
What's the size of my head, sir?
But they're so tacky, sir. Why not Hotel Chocolat or something? No, boy.
Well, they should just cut out the middleman and make a Mad Libs card, surely.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, why cross something out if you can just fill in your own blanks?
Can I bring you into your mic?
Sorry.
Sorry, it's okay.
Why cross something out if you can just fill in your own blanks?
Yeah.
Well, at some point, that's the kind of cards that I buy, which is just blank card painting on it.
Yeah, with like a little
That's
flower or
it.
something.
Wheel
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Fortune type stuff.
No
She has
message.
to guess.
No message. No writing.
Yeah.
Just you go to like the RA or something, and then you buy like 10 cards, and they just have nice paintings on them, and then those are your cards for the year.
Oh, okay. You use postcards from museums because I feel like one that isn't foldable is a postcard that you send.
They're still greeting cards.
Oh, okay. You're
Yeah,
talking
they're still
about
greeting cards. I go agnostic, no message, no little fun, and so on. And then I'm taken care of for the year. I don't have to think about cards again.
And it's like you use Guernica, and you're like happy 50th marriage anniversary.
When you said RA there, I thought you meant resident advisor. Little holes of residence.
It's just a sort of washed out picture of a satellite dish that says Technomate.
Scrivener, what's the problem? Well, I'm sorry to report, sir, that our cards for your sick aunt that have blanked out some of the letters so you can fill in the cells have been misused by Australians, sir.
Oh, God.
I'm not even sure what that means.
It was quite.
and
I was
for-
doing a lot of layers there. To be
do you
fair.
mind breaking that down?
Answer the card for your dog, aunt.
Because I was back on the thing about having blanked out letters like Wheel of Fortune cards.
Oh.
And then like sick aunt, if you blanked out some of the letters, could be like sick cunt.
For example.
Is that a thing?
In Australia?
Yo, Australians
yeah.
love the word sick cunt. Well, the phrase.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
say
yeah.
okay. I
Yeah,
kind
there
of
you
get
go.
it. I would say
Yeah.
I get 80% there.
It was a lot. I'm
It
not.
was a lot to do.
It was.
Yeah. Look, I wanted to. I heard the first half of a story before we started that I want to hear the second half of,
Mhm.
which is you.
In fact, why not start from the beginning?
We can
Yeah.
start from the beginning.
Let's
start
throw
from
the
the beginning.
listeners a bone and start from the beginning.
Okay, so the idea is the over. Should we just start from?
Let's just start from the
Let's
beginning.
start from. Sorry.
Okay, so I think one of the nicest things you can do in a friendship is like add to someone's embellishments on a story, right?
Sure.
It's like go along with it because
You have a really good friend who does that. You've
Mm.
told me about. I think so. But basically, sorry, I immediately interrupted
no,
We
you.
should
no.
probably bleep that.
Okay, but one of my favorite stories of yours that like
He's a lawyer.
some girl was telling you that you were lying, and to prove to her that you weren't, even though you were, you like shouted to a friend to back you up on something bizarre, and he just immediately hit the ground running and was like, "Yeah, totally."
Oh,
Milo's remembered something from earlier.
This is a story about pretending to work at an artisan butter churnery in Hackney Wick with a bunch of monks.
Park life.
Yeah.
Wait, and you backed his riff.
No, I wasn't even there. I just heard about this and I enjoyed this story so much that I have repeated it to other people.
Oh, okay.
But you didn't cast yourself in any.
No,
of the
I
roles.
didn't take credit for it. I do
Okay.
always credit. You're looking Google to find out more.
But yeah, I think part of the embellishment and part of that is like obviously if you hear someone telling a story that's been told to you, then but with added embellishments, you're like you don't call that out. You never call that out. You have to be like,
Yeah.
this is the truth. But then another part of that is the free ability to take someone else's story and make it yours
Sure.
with no consequences.
Mhm.
But like, I don't think you always have to be the hero in that story. So a story I've always told, and then you recently found out was not my story, is that I what perspective should I tell this from? The
Yeah,
original,
As
or
though the
mine?
listener is Olga.
Okay,
Before she found out the truth.
So I guess
Ignorant Olga.
I guess I'm flirting at this point. Am I flirting? Would you say, or were we friends when I told you this story?
I think that the lines on that are blurred, buddy.
Okay, yeah, very much blurred. Sorry.
Those lines are blurred for you with everyone.
I'm taking this all down for my new Valentine's card idea.
Are we friends or is this flirting?
Who's to say? Happy Valentine's ?
The new blurred lines collection at Scrivener.
Happy Valentine's to you and your husband.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mom.
So I'm telling you this story, and it's I was wanting to watch the new. I say new. They're like 7 years old at this point. The new Planet of the Apes movie,
Ooh.
starring James Franco. James Franco?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Starring James Franco
Or
and
the other
some
Franco.
CG monkeys. I think he went on to do Robbie Williams biopic after
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But obviously a remake of the classic. And throughout the entire movie, you've got James Franco talking to this monkey as this monkey's trying to take over planet Earth.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, the Robbie Williams movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Robbie
I understand. Yeah,
He did it. He won.
yeah, he did.
and then like I'm just kind of like I thought it was quite an obfuscated movie. I thought it was like, oh, this I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I think that the cinematic styling of it is quite interesting, quite stylized. Why are they doing it this way? Which shouldn't be the case for a James Franco blockbuster movie. So my flatmate comes home and he's like, what did you get up to today? And I was like, oh, I downloaded the new Planet of the Apes movie and I watched it and I thought it was bizarre. Like, what an unbelievable decision to make it difficult to understand what the monkey's saying to James Franco. And he was like, it's not difficult to understand. There's subtitles. And I was like, what? There's subtitles. I thought it was supposed to be like commentary about how we can't communicate with monkeys, and like that's why they're trying to bring us down. And he's like, "You fucking idiot!" No. It's the most simple down the line movie you could ever have. It's literally a blockbuster with James Franco in it. So I'm telling this story, and it's charming.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
But why is it charming? Are you saying like, hey, I will allow myself to like, stay on board with some very strange directorial choices. I will go there with a really avant-garde director.
Riley, I think you underestimate how much bumbling idiot is a thing that's been absolutely programmed into me to love.
It's just Hugh Grant.
Exactly.
It's just Hugh Grant.
I love this because I feel like most men, when they're telling a story about themselves that's not really about them, like they're cribbing from somewhere, it will be a story where like, yeah, and then I knocked him out, and everyone goes, this is like, I didn't understand a film. Like, it's such a strange story if it's not about you, to make it about you.
Yeah, I don't want to brag, but Planet of the Apes went way over my head.
So
Yeah.
I
I
obviously
like to keep it pretty simple, like,
I thought it was pretty
Paddington 1.
pretty out there.
It's about my level.
Paddington 2, too many themes.
Yeah, I'm getting through PG-13s mostly by myself.
I'm reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'm struggling.
I'm allowed to watch R-rated movies, but I just cannot follow them.
He says, say hello to my little friend, but it's just a gun. How can his friend be a gun? Is that his only friend? It made me sad. Is that the commentary?
Yeah.
That he has no friends except his trusty gun?
Oh, so
The
alienating.
Good Shepherd is a movie with no sheep in it. And I found that really frustrating.
Yeah, bad shepherd. He's lost all his sheep.
Yeah.
That's like shepherding 101.
That's a good story to tell to impress someone, is how much you liked The Good Shepherd. Then they'll be like, oh, this person's really into the history of the CIA. People love that. If you start referring to James Jesus Angleton as Jim Angleton, they'll be like, oh, this guy really, he's very familiar with this. He's on casual terms with Jim Angleton.
I like the idea that Jesus is a nickname.
Well, that was-
James Jesus Angleton.
What, like
he
the
can walk on fucking
The
water.
CIA is a sports team.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
let's go, Jesus.
Yeah.
But it's about like the director of counterintelligence in the 1960s.
His mother was a virgin.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how it happened.
You put the U.S. in Jesus.
Plausible, like sort of MAGA candidate campaign slogan.
Jim Angleton, actually, interestingly, he was the main guy in the States who was taken in by the Cambridge spies. He's the main, he was comprehensive. He was like the dark master of counterintelligence in the middle of the 20th century. He was like, he was there for like MKUltra. He did a lot of the like really shitty, like the crazy stuff that the US would do under like Eisenhower was like him, right? He was
Elvis's commanding officer.
Yeah. No, Elvis wanted to be in the FBI, not the CIA.
Oh, right, yeah.
Come on,
Big
get the
rivalry.
lore of your own podcast.
Yeah. Elvis
working for Hoover, mama.
Elvis was too simple-minded.
He's dressed like a woman. I find it confusing.
Elvis was too simple-minded to be in the CIA.
FBI Elvis gets me every single time.
Yeah. He trying to like.
McCarthy didn't get rid of all the Reds, mama. We got
I mean, the lyrics to Satisfaction, a little less conversation, could be transposed onto a conversation between modern day CIA Elvis and a guy he's trying to entrap into doing a terrorist attack.
Come on,
a little less communism, a little more action, please. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you plant that pressure cooker at the Boston Marathon, that won't satisfy me, baby.
Holy shit.
They put me in touch with a man called Jokar's son, Mama. We've made sure that Mark Wahlberg is far away.
I'm a low stress kind of guy, Mama.
You can't do Elvis without going slightly Nixon.
Look, they're just so together. I'm someone who's really interested in Nixon, and the fact that you put them together so much has put them together for me. Because outside of the show, non-recording times, you will still do it.
Well, something Nixon would never understand is a non-recording time. That man was always podcasting. R.I.P. Tricky Dickies. Yeah.
Would you visit a Nixon Graceland?
Oh my God, yes, I would.
Is that just the White House?
It's his farm. It's his father's failed farm.
Wait, what kind of farm does he have?
It was like his dad was
I
like
hope
a
it's
failed
not Peanut.
orange farmer, lemon farmer.
Yeah, he would. Wait, we don't want it to be Peanut because you don't want one kind of farmer overrepresented as U.S. president?
Absolutely.
It's Carter only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like U.S. government departments have like such complex DEI initiatives, they couldn't have more than like a 0.5% of presidents be a peanut farmer. Otherwise, they'd be like, fuck.
That's what they had to get rid of.
Yeah.
No, it was because he was like that's one of the things I think is the key to Nixon is that he was this like inland deranged California Republican, which I think is fun. But Angleton was this guy who was like, he was behind all of the most insane shit that he was like MKUltra stuff. MKUltra mostly happened in Canada, which is fun.
Really?
What?
Yeah, it was mostly happening in Montreal.
That explains
What do you
everything.
think the M stands for?
Montreal Canadiens Ultra.
That's right. The firm for the Montreal Canadiens.
MKUltra.
Is that why they all speak French?
Yeah.
They forgot.
So it was, but
We're turning them French. It's a new CIA plan. We're feeding them garlic while we play them Big Bopper records.
That's how they created the FLQ. Was just an MKUltra byproduct.
There was no French speakers in Quebec.
No, it's like
MKUltra.
Yeah.
It was overspilled.
No, that's how it's like all those guys in like bell bottom, those French Canadians with bell bottoms and long hair that became terrorists in the 1970s.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but so he was fully taken in by Kim Philby.
Who's that?
Kim Philby was one of the Cambridge spies. Have you seen Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
No.
Okay.
Basically, there were all these people who went to
Sorry,
Cambridge.
that's a PG-13 film.
Where's the Tinker? Where's the Tailor?
Yeah, I don't understand. There's no tailors in this at all.
I'm watching Over the
Soldier
Hedge.
Spy,
Hey, even then, thin on soldiers, very heavy on spies.
Okay, so for clarity,
Spy.
Yeah.
that's more like it. For people who didn't quite catch on to it, just for full clarity, that story did not happen to you.
No, that story happened to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
James Inglewood was there as well.
That story happened to my flatmate, and I like he came home. That all happened to, and he was like,
You're the guy who told him you're an idiot.
Yeah, I was like, you're a fucking idiot. But I don't know.
But then in that moment, were you like, hang on a minute?
Well, that's
This
right.
is
You're
so
in the original
delicious.
story, but you just made yourself the idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
could
it's-
have been the smart guy.
Well, the thing
But
is,
it's not cool to tell that story because it's like, oh, here's a story of how I was a legend one time and made my friend feel stupid. That's not a
then
charming
who's
story.
being stupid?
I'm not sucking that guy's dick, let me tell you that much.
I'm not sucking a guy's dick if he understood the film Planet of the Apes. Let me tell you,
It's a
I've
litmus
got
test.
standards, okay? If you understood the film Planet of the Apes, don't bother commenting. Don't even try it. She's not interested.
But the thing was, I think it's like quite a charming mistake to make. It's an illegally downloaded Planet of the Apes. How are you to know there's not subtitles in there? I mean, we've all downloaded a movie illegally before, and it's been like had like a French line in it, a German line in it, and it's like I'm not sure if that's supposed to be or I'm supposed to be in the dark. But the entire way through, this guy's not knowing what the apes are saying, and I think that's so funny, so ridiculous. And this flatmate of mine is like quite charmingly bumbling. And it's like,
And you wanted to be that
And I was
You
charmingly
want
like,
bumbling.
stolen valor.
The stolen valor.
You're
Valor.
just too slick.
I think
You're
I'm too
too
slick.
cool.
Yeah. I illegally downloaded Planet of the Apes, and I think it's one of these like Chinese censored versions because like everyone apart from one guy's apes. Like, I don't understand. Like why are they all apes?
I downloaded the Robbie Williams version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like an odd film.
Which
Yeah.
better man?
Yeah.
How dare you? It's one of the greatest
Supposed to be
cinematic. It's so good.
It is exceptionally good.
It's
cinema.
fantastic.
Ewan, did you understand it? Answer quickly.
This one didn't require subtitles because the monkey could speak. The monkey could speak.
Speaking
Yeah.
the language of pop music.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
can sing. They should have made Gary Barlow a monkey too.
It's so
Like an
weird
orangutan.
how Robbie Williams just didn't happen outside of Britain.
That's such a lie. He's
Yeah.
huge in Australia. He's huge in Russia. He was one of my first ever concert, and he filled out a stadium. Robbie Williams is everywhere apart from North America. He is huge. I hate it. Really, I'm sorry, but this is actually like something I get emotional about. How the way North Americans are like, who's Robbie Williams? Shut the fuck up!
I love getting that Valentine's Day card from you.
It's a voice note.
First of all, you're wrong about Robbie Williams. He was huge in Russia, Australia, Europe, and in fact the rest of the world. Maybe you shouldn't be, and then he just turns the page and the page. It's a Valentine's Day, like sort of excoriating pamphlet.
It's very like, but it gets sort of regional Russian politician press conference. It's like, our colleagues in America are saying they do not know about Robbie Williams, and yet Robbie Williams is actually an incredibly famous man all over the world. If you look at this, look at Uzbekistan, listen to Robbie Williams, and these people are Greek also, but they love Robbie Williams.
Yeah, Robbie Williams actually is Kazakh.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Now we're talking.
Robbie Williams played by a dead goat in a movie.
Yeah, his favorite song, Buzkashi.
Yeah. There's a
A riff I
sport
cannot
they play
partake
in
in, but
southern
I admire
Kazakhstan.
from
Are you
afar.
not familiar with Buzkashi?
I'm not. I'm sorry.
So it is the predecessor to polo, a game that was played
Oh.
in northern Pakistan and Afghanistan, where instead of a polo ball, there would be a dead goat, and two teams of guys on horseback would try to grab the dead goat and then throw it into like a goal.
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you eat the goat at the end?
I mean, it's pretty tenderized.
Wait, so the
Maybe
goat was
confused.
left skin on.
Yeah, it's just
It's
a
like-
full. It's just
It's
a,
full dead. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
it's
a,
a full dead
it's a carcass more than anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought
It's
they would like at least go to some length to
Turn
maybe.
it into a ball.
Yeah.
A ball with horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bit of fun, that. You know, hook it up.
A
You know?
spiky volleyball.
Yeah, that's great
Yeah.
fun.
New goats, please. There's a little pen on the side of it. It's like, you can throw him in live. It'll be dead soon enough. I mean, it's not gonna...
You have a goat boy
a goat boy.
just
running in the back.
standing like with the intense focus they do in Wimbledon.
A guy staring at a goat.
You know when tennis players accidentally hit them, but they hit when the goat boy's with the goat. Gourds.
Yeah.
Right through the heart.
You don't lose a point, but it's considered bad form.
Absolutely.
It's bad gamesmanship.
Picking up two goats and kind of like weighing them before stuffing one in your pocket and throwing the other one back at the umpire.
I'm going to picture a remake of The Good Shepherd, but about the goat boy.
The very bad shepherd.
The bad shepherd, good Buzkashi player. But some say, behind every bad shepherd is a great Buzkashi player.
Yeah.
Or goat herd. The
Cracking.
good goat herd. There we go. My new movie.
Cracking open a fresh can of goats.
The smell's bad though.
Yeah. Oh, it's real
Smells
bad.
dreadful.
There was that big scandal in American football when Bill Belichick was revealed to have been deflating the goats. To make it easier for the kicker. Much like you, Milo, I have a very broad but very shallow, except deep in some very small places, knowledge of things. So that's all I know about American football.
If you want to go into Deflategate, I can.
Oh, please.
Deflate.
Go into it.
Deflategate, yeah.
All right.
He's
Okay.
really big into American football.
Bill Belichick notoriously saying about the sport of American football, if you're not cheating, then you're not winning. Olga has a question for the group.
Who's Bill Belichick?
Bill Belichick.
Well, you're not winning if you're not cheating against him.
Again, great Valentine's Day card. Cartoon of Bill Belichick holding a football,
but they were deflating the football so they were easier to catch. Lower PSI meant that you didn't have to grab them as hard.
Yeah.
They weren't as impactful on the hands. I'm wondering how we can do that with goats.
But then surely,
Interesting.
did that not benefit the other team as well?
No, this is the thing. There's over 200 balls for each game of NFL.
Really?
Yeah,
Bloody hell.
each game of American
Wait, so
football.
That's how many players there are.
you strategically use the deflated ball only when you're the one starting?
So
or what
each team
happens?
has their own balls.
Huh?
That
Yeah.
seems like it's open to abuse.
Yeah, completely not. Like they have their own. Like equipment manager, and then there's like 100 balls prepared for each team for each game, and they're prepared for different things. So like there's a different ball for kicking than there is for throwing.
Really?
And there's yeah.
Wait, so when do they swap the balls?
Every
Whenever they
down?
want.
Whenever they want.
Literally whenever they want.
Crazy.
and like
crazy.
balls are brand new for each game, but then the equipment manager like brushes it up and like polishes it, or like makes sure the tread on it is like more done.
You can't go through goats like that. They'll go extinct.
There's over 100 goats for each game.
Imagine the post-match feast though. Like,
There's an amazing Jamaican restaurant attached to the Buzkashi Stadium. It's one of those real Freakonomics things, you know.
It's like,
You'd never have thought a little Jamaica right next to little Kazakhstan. Why?
The exchange was wild.
Love that Kazakh Jamaican fusion.
Surely that
Jerk Monty.
Yeah.
be pretty good.
I'm into it.
Be pretty good. No one's tried it yet. I feel. Look, there are a lot of railway arches in London. I think J.P. Morgan or something bought all of them. But you could just rent a railway arch and be like, "We're doing Central Asian Jamaican fusion." That'd make
sounds good.
I'm in.
It might be good, but it would make everyone would hate it. Everyone would get so mad.
If we did it, yeah.
Yeah.
If the five of us were like, here's our Jamaican Kazakhstan.
We're all doing our
cuisine.
best, like Chet Hanks voice, like welcoming people into.
You're the mayor of Toronto did do that.
What he became Chet Hanks?
Yep, no, Rob Ford.
Oh, I love Rob Ford.
Used to get so drunk he would just speak in Jamaican patois while being
I
filmed.
love Rob Ford.
Oh no, I love. No, don't get me wrong. I love that
him.
one of his like last living acts was to be a cameo in his friend's mockumentary about owning a wings restaurant called Tirana. And the cameo he has is
When it was
to
set in Albania.
pull into a parking lot in like a souped up Trans Am with a license plate that just says Tirana on it. Not Tirana, like Tirana, like you're saying Toronto in a Toronto accent. Not the one that you always do that you only know the one phrase of. Don't do it do not do it unless you learn new phrases. You have to learn new phrases or I'm not going to let you do it. Okay?
Yeah, you're not letting me do this accent.
It's going to be me.
Okay.
That is sick to my stomach, fam.
Fuck, learn new phrases. There's a whole universe.
Crody?
There's a whole universe of terrible Toronto accent videos.
That is fucked up, Crody.
Watch one more. I'm begging you. Just one more. Just one new
Stop being
phrase.
such a Gerbert, Crody.
No, so in the Toronto accent from before that happened,
Sure. Yeah.
which is what I used to have. Anyway, so he gets out of the car and then he like mutters something about being like, "I'm going to give you this car so you can take care of your sick brother in Detroit," and then like waddles off screen. And that was one of the last living acts that he
Holy
performed.
shit.
Iconic. I remember he was once in a press conference asked about whether he like did something crazy that he always was up to, and instead of saying yes or no, he just said probably in one of my drunken stupors.
I know. It's like
That's quite George Best coded, actually.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Rob Ford was fucking wild. It was like it was crazy that he was mayor for a while.
what was his perception in? What do people think of him in?
There was
Toronto?
videos of him doing crack cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course there
Oh,
was.
do you remember?
Yeah,
I mean,
Oh,
the
okay.
perception was
But, like-
just that he was sort of faintly embarrassing, right? Like he sort of, from a policy perspective, he wasn't so different from anybody else. The craziest things the craziest stuff about Rob Ford is not the stuff that he's most famous for. Everyone knows about the crack. Everyone knows about the time that he was interviewed by saying, "Oh yeah, and I didn't say I'd eat her pussy because I got enough to eat at home." And everyone knows about that stuff. What I like is the stuff
He's got
that
enough
I love
pussy
how
to eat, or
Bradley's
he's
like,
got
I will
other
find a
stuff?
deep cut even about Rob Ford.
I like the stuff where it's like
It's so funny to get presented with a pussy and be like, "No, thanks, I'm full." I can't. A moment on the lips.
Could eat another bite.
Oh no! Honestly, I had 3 pussies on the way here.
my favorite things about him are like that he fired his driver so that he could be like demonstrating that he was saving City Hall money. But then he also would just do work on his steering wheel while driving. Like, he was the most dangerous driving
Holy
mayor that any North American city has ever. He was so committed to drunk and distracted driving. Like he was, in fact,
That's the only way to get good at it.
after he said that like drunk driving was fine, he then did a press conference in the jersey of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Toronto Maple Leafs were like, please don't associate us with drunk driving.
That's so good.
It was like,
Can you
that's the-
imagine how associated you have to be with drunk driving for a Canadian sports team to be like, please don't associate us with drunk driving?
It's the people who are most pro drunk driving in the entire world are Canadian conservatives. They are huge into drunk driving.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I
And
can.
that's the journalist just now.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like
asking probing questions? Yeah.
What do you mean?
I
Say more about that.
So, like, for example, Alberta. Alberta effectively decriminalized drunk driving a few years ago.
Holy
Well, they
shit.
have no public transport, I assume.
Yeah, there's no public transport, and Canadians like I
It's
think
not walkable.
it's not walkable, and like people drink a lot, like a lot.
Well, as
Like a
people,
lot.
Russia, Scotland, when it gets dark early, people start drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the province that's run by drill. Drunk driving does help people to get to work on time. Well, Russia's actually a great analogy, though, in another way, which is that like Russia can only function by being corrupt, and if you take away the corruption, nothing works. Because like the way that the systems operate is so baroque that without corruption you could never get anything done. Like if you were trying to follow the rules, like the rules all contradict each other, and it would be like having the car wheels turning towards each other, like nothing would ever. And so similarly, like drunk driving enables the province of Alberta to function, and corruption enables the state of Russia to function.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
and so like so people like Rob Ford, because like Canadian conservatives all like live in not just rural areas where like drunk driving happens all the time and is sort of fine. Sorry, that's the Canadian in me.
Technically, officer, this is a ski-doo. I don't see any wheels.
No, my family live on an island off the west coast of Scotland,
Yeah.
and I think up until like 2006, there weren't police officers on the island at the weekend.
Well, because you put them all in that big wicker man. Like, we're not going back.
Once a year, or else the harvest does not happen. But yeah, it just meant that drunk driving was like a completely socially acceptable thing. Like my gran has a cross stitch in her house that says third gear past the police station, so the car doesn't make enough noise to alert the police. They fully like the island would not function without drunk driving.
There's only 3 taxi drivers in there.
Yeah, 3 taxi drivers on an island of 3,000 people.
And 2 of them are drunk at any one time.
They have to be, or else they can't get behind the wheel. It's like a reverse breathalyzer to start the car.
You've got to do the like Sambuca spitting fire thing into the ignition.
So with Alberta, they were like, all right, we're going to make it like just a fine if you're caught drunk driving. Like you don't get like points on, like it's just, you have to be caught drunk driving so many times for it to start having anything even like a consequence.
Oh my God.
And they brought that in like 10 years ago and everybody's much happier.
Was
Well, are people dying?
I don't know.
Don't care, not my problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm home. Gotta get your car home.
One of the big dramas on the island just now, and I don't know if I can share this because it is an open police case with
Ooh.
I currently I believe that it's being investigated.
Have any
But,
arrests been made?
No, but there is only one person that can be arrested, and
We're fine.
basically this like. And he was driving home quite drunk from the pub, and he crashed his car into the
Right.
side of the road. No one was there. He was literally the only person there. He gets he crashes it into the ditch, allegedly, because no one was there. No one knows. He gets out of the car and starts walking to the nearest town because he's just so fucked. There's no way he's getting that car out. He just wants to get home.
Sure.
So
Gemma
he's-
Collins is nowhere to be found. He's stuck. Yeah.
So he's walking along the side of the road, and the police are just driving. They're just doing a little check. They're going from town to town,
Yeah.
and they're just driving.
They've had a few whiskeys. What of? Yeah, sure.
They
Yeah.
see him by
We've got our
the
uniform still on.
They feel the vision.
I love being a policeman. Fucking great.
So they see him by the side of the road, and they know him by name because
Right,
there's
yeah.
3,000 people on this island, and then they're like, "Oh, David, how you doing? Why are you walking by the side of this road? Because it's the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Why are you walking by the side of the road? Do you want a lift? Where are you going?" So he gets in the back of the car, and they keep driving about 5 minutes. And they're like, "David, is that not your car in the ditch there?" And he was like, "Oh, I don't know how that got there." They're like, "Should we get that?" And he's like, "No, don't worry." Don't worry. So they drop him home.
Should we get that? I feel like getting a car out of a ditch is not just like, oh, should we just stop and just grab
Oh,
it?
do you mind if we just quickly?
Yeah. Should we just pop into that ditch and just winch that car out of there? Just
Let's just okay, and yeah, okay, fine, we got it.
I don't want to be a bother, but if we could winch the twisted wreckage of my car out of the ditch,
I mean, what's the
real
police
quick.
service for if not for
Exactly.
that? But yeah, so they fully drop him home. He's like, "Thank you, guys. You're proper good." And then the next morning, they show up at his door, being like, "David, you weren't driving drunk last night, were you?" And he's like, "Me? No."
What?
No. And they're like, "Well, you were drunk in the car, and in our car, and that car was in the ditch. So we just have to check." And then I think his iPhone as well did like one of those emergency things when it like.
Yeah.
So basically, there's like they now like trying to retroactively prosecute him for drunk driving.
But they never breathalyzed
But
him
they
on the
never
night.
breathalyzed him at the time.
They don't. He just seemed drunk.
And now the phone that he was like.
You're saying this is an open court case?
I think it is.
We
Yeah.
can't talk about any of this.
God.
Right? We can't talk about any of this.
If no arrests have been made.
I don't know. It's fine. But there's no real names, and he's not
I would
called
check.
David.
Wait, why?
Yeah.
Because it's-
Contempt of court.
Yeah.
But this is not like this is not mass media.
Jury
No.
trial?
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, the phone that made the automated call has now mysteriously gone missing.
Allegedly.
allegedly.
This might be one for us.
Oh, it's all good fun.
Can I request a story from the two of you?
Yes.
Because
Did it actually happen to you? Or did it
Well,
happen to
I've
just
no
happen to someone else?
I'll
This is
be
another
you.
Planet of the Apes
I'll be you.
situation.
it happened when the two of you lived together, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Can you guys tell? Okay, so for context, they lived together for ages,
Yeah, for a long time.
including at university.
yes.
Can you please tell the rat story?
Oh, I love the rat
The
story.
rat story is
I'm
great.
in this story, actually.
Let's see what Ed has to say.
Yes, so you claim.
What year was this? This was
This would have been 2017, before our fourth year of university.
yeah.
Um,
We just moved into a flat
Into
together.
the tiniest flat in
I think
Edinburgh.
for the first time, and there was this tiny little flat in like we moved in mid-August in Edinburgh,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the two of us were doing the Edinburgh Fringe for our sins. And
I was working in a bar.
Well, you were working in a bar. I was doing musical improv. Sorry.
No one asked. That was completely unprofitable.
You know what? Sometimes you just
I was doing musical improv, actually. Isn't
you just have to say.
that humiliating?
Making up that you did musical improv. Why have you made yourself the musical improv guy in that story? I just don't understand. It would be much better to be the guy working the bar.
No.
I was trying to humiliate myself as much as possible. Come on.
And I was working in a bar.
Look how much I've grown as a person. I don't do musical improv anymore.
Yeah.
So we were going through Fringe. I think we were barely there because we were constantly at
Yeah,
it, right?
it was French, you know.
Yeah, it's Fringe. And I mean, there was basically no time for this flat to be lived in or get dirty or whatever.
Mhm.
But it gets to, I think we're there for 15 days and it gets to the end of Fringe and we all kind of like, let's purge ourselves a little bit of Edinburgh. Let's try and like restore ourselves. So we'll clean up the flat
Mhm.
and then we all leave for a week.
Mhm.
So after a week, I'm the first back home.
Sure.
I come through the door, and the first thing I see is the hallway, which is it's a really small hallway.
It's tiny.
So small. And it's just covered in dirt, just like an unbelievable amount of like earth is just scattered all over the hallway. And I was like, how the fuck is this happening?
It's
I
been
wonder
an
if we
earthquake.
take out the story that I request because I feel like there's a spoiler in the name of the story.
And we live in this close in like a very, very central Edinburgh that had some of the most incredible graffiti that you'll ever see. Like
Oh, yeah.
outside our front door, after like 2 days of living there, that was not there when we viewed the flat. It was not there when we moved in. Like after 2 days of living there, in what I can only describe as blood.
It looked like blood.
It looked like blood. Was death is coming very soon in thin lines.
Fucking Ian M. Banksy. What's going on?
But death was spelt wrong.
Oh.
There was no A in death.
But there was an E in coming.
Well, like on the end, like Shakespearean coming. Death is coming.
It's coming soon.
So that felt like a prophecy,
Good
and it was like quite. It was a difficult hallway to walk up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You barely fit.
Yeah, it was so. We're like, what the hell has happened here? This is very
Sure.
ominous. Christ. So I come through the door, see this, and I'm like, immediately like, okay, well, we've been fucking robbed.
Yeah.
You're also a paranoid person anyway.
Yeah, I'm a paranoid
We've been robbed by the grave digger gang who always leave a trail of
It was back in here.
looking for more organs.
Death is coming was here.
So the first room, like it's a student flat, right? So
Sure.
all the bedroom doors have that kind of like security, like fire, safety, immediately closing thing.
Yeah.
So there's only 4 doors in the flat that are actually open.
Mhm.
And the first door that I come to is on my left-hand side, and that is the living room. And it is immediately apparent where all the dirt came from. It's like we had a big ficus that looked like, I mean...
I wasn't prepared for the sentence, we had a big fight.
But we bought it because we went to IKEA, and the back of it looked like a penis going into a vagina. That's why we bought it.
So
Lads, ficus.
Musical improv.
Ficus.
So our ficus, known as Hulk Hogan, was strewn all over.
It was wrecked. It was just
It was like it was all the dirt was everywhere all over the living room, and
They're taking me out, brother.
and the ficus was like cut in half, like the penis had been removed from vagina.
Oh.
On
There was like a
Christian.
prudish burglar?
And I was like, what the fuck has happened here? Because nothing's stolen. We have like the television still there, all the video games console still there. I mean, I think that was our only possessions.
that was everything we could fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're blokes. the PlayStation's still
We have a
there.
telly.
Yeah. The wanking tissues. The case of Madry. It's all still there.
Nothing Burke and Hare want is the so we,
The West End quality Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat costumes still there.
The full score for Joseph with the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Signed Gilbert and Sullivan, Pirates of Penzance.
My book about the rules of musical improv. It's called Yes and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
My Bernadette Peters wall calendar. My Patti LuPone wall calendar.
My 6-foot-high signed mannequin of Adina Menzel. She's not even that big. It's like 1.5 scale. I don't know.
Oh, my Hedwig wigs. I got an angry age. So I was like, well, what the fuck has happened here? Nothing's been taken. This room is in an absolute mess.
Sure.
I leave, I go back into the hallway, go up to the next room, which is the kitchen, and I'm like, well, there's like, again, dirt on the countertops, dirt on the bin. I'm like, something's been everywhere here. And then go back, and then the next door I go through is the bathroom, and like, I can see that the dirt is kind of like all around the toilet seat too, and I'm like, Christ, what the fuck has happened?
Someone's been shitting in
Yeah,
my
someone-
flat.
you break in and you shit everywhere.
The Goldilocks of shitting.
So try
First
shitting
I
it up.
tried the ficus.
So I kind of like slowly approach, and as I'm approaching the toilet seat, I can see that there's like deep claw marks in it, like
Ooh.
deep claw marks. What the fuck? And I take another step forward, and I see this like head poking out of the toilet, and then I take another step forward, and I see that this head is attached to the biggest rat
It was insane.
I have ever seen in my entire life. Like it was like a small dog-sized rat, and it,
Like those New York rats.
and it
They have
is
to send in the National Guard to shoot the rats in the subway.
an Eric Adams induced rat, and it's like I've never seen anything like it, and it just like it was like fully in there, and it had clearly been in there for a while because it was like starting to get that blow on
It
as
drowned?
well. Yeah, it drowned in
drowned in the toilet?
It had, like,
And I try to get out.
so we call the exterminator, and
He's like, my work here is done. He's like, oh, you for me.
Put that in the bag.
Does my van say dead rat removal? I'm confused about it. Because I'm pretty sure it's pretty large letter. It's not the same way van
This
it
is a
says
waste of my
exterminate. What you've got there, pal, is a dead rat.
you have a mouse issue just now. Have you considered just getting a toilet?
No, I won't have one in my house. It's unclean. It's not right. It's the same reason I won't have the sexual ficus. I'm an ice chewing Protestant. I have an outhouse with a bog and a copy of the Bible, and that's the only way I'll shit, reading the scripture.
So this exterminator's like, well, this is the biggest rat I've ever seen in Edinburgh. And he's like, this is like...
He's like, congratulations.
The poppers go on.
Lord Promise came around.
He's like, can you sign my tits, actually?
The mayor of Edinburgh's doing heroin in our clothes. Takes a brief break to give us a little handshake. So he's like, this must be like 10, 12 years old. It's like a old ass rat, and it's probably come from the restaurant downstairs. And he's like, so he does an investigation of our flat and sees that there's a hole in this cupboard at the end of the corridor, and that's where like the cleaning supplies were. And basically, when we'd taken everything out to do a big clean before we left for a week, this rat had come through the hole from probably downstairs in the restaurant and had like got trapped because we put everything back in the cupboard. So it was like it got trapped out of its home, and the only things in the flat, like, there was nothing to eat. So
never clean your flat, boys. That's rule number one.
But also, she's 10, 12 years old, so she's been living pretty. She's been living pretty at a restaurant, so she's she's used to a level of service and cuisine.
I like that we've now gendered the rat. I like that. Yeah,
she's a gorgeous lady.
This is a queen.
I've never considered it a girl rat in this story. There's every chance it was.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that she's used to like eating bonbons all the time, and then it's a sort of like riches to rags story. She's been abandoned in this completely desolate land with no food. Her
final meal was a ficus in a bin bag.
Yeah,
so, you know,
man.
it's like, it's pretty tough.
Drowned in a toilet.
Yeah, so this exterminator's like, okay, so this is how it happened. You're very lucky you had a clean flat because it's clearly like gone a bit crazy over the course of the week.
She's used to tartar.
Yeah.
And then like is tried to have a drink in the toilet, drowned. Horrifying. But he put some poison down, so he was like, this is definitely going to happen again. That restaurant downstairs probably covered in rats. This has to, like, let me put tons of poison down. But he was like, one thing you need to know about rat poison.
One thing you need to know about rat poison.
You heard this, right? You certainly experienced the consequences. Was that rat poison works in a way where it makes rats feel very, very cold. Like it makes them feel freezing. It basically makes them feel like all their organs are shutting down and their blood feel really cold. So they go to the warmest place they can possibly find, which tends to be like the most secreted part of like a floorboard or like inside.
They go away to die.
Yeah, they like burrow away to die. So he's like, chances are, if there's more rats, they'll probably die in your floorboards. And I was like, great. So maybe about a week after this, we start to get a smell directly under our front door. And it's like, oh God. So we do the only thing that a flat full of boys could do, and we buy 3 Glade air fresheners.
We did.
French vanilla.
But then remember the flies.
Oh, well, yeah, so this is what it led to, is like, it was clearly coming from this specific cupboard at the end of the corridor.
Yeah.
And this rat had clearly died.
Just decomposed.
So it was like, we talked to the exterminator again, and he was like, this is going to take like 3 or 4 weeks to just go away. It just has to fully decay by itself. It'll go away. There's nothing you can do. It's like, okay, right.
Well, there's no option to remove the dead rat.
No, because it's like in the deepest, darkest parts of the floorboard as well. So you have to like tear everything up. And
then
you're not
also,
sure
I think it's something that as an adult you would challenge now. But when you're 21, you'd be like, "Thank you, sir. I trust you
You've
with my
done your
life."
job.
Thank you.
The rats are certainly dead. I can't argue with that. It does what it says. Like the monkey's poor exterminator. Like, oh, I can kill the rat.
That's like the mafia exterminator. It's just like, oh, you didn't pay the removal. It's like I
gotta call my cousin Vinny, the rat removal guy.
Or it's more like you go in. It's like the strip club you go into in Russia, and then you think they're just comping you drinks, and then you try to leave, and they're like, it's going to be 1,000 euros.
Oh, that's my favorite rat. You killed it now. It's very important to me.
The guy's in the restaurant pushing rats. It was the chef.
It's a circular economy thing.
Yeah,
this is another thing.
This scam is called the Telltale Heart. So basically,
the exterminator is just like, yeah, that restaurant downstairs is infested with rats. Anyway, the best thing I can do is put down rat poison in your apartment. Not like maybe that restaurant shouldn't be open.
Well, I think this is the thing. At no point did we stop going to that restaurant downstairs.
Wait, you were going to the restaurant?
It was brilliant.
It was an excellent restaurant.
That's why the rats loved it. So. The rats were actually cooking. They were hiding under the chefs.
Yeah, there is a fear in me that we killed Remy at some point. We killed the ratatouille because it did go downhill. after the rat deaths. I don't know.
It improved, and then it declined. I don't know if that restaurant is open anymore.
Well, which implies that some of the rats were helping, but others of them were actually hindering the process.
It was more of a power struggle.
Yeah.
When the rats started decomposing, it didn't occur to any of us that this was the case. But we're like, there's a lot of flies in this flat, like a noticeable amount of like a swarm of flies.
Yeah, and they were like horrible flies in that they were
massive.
not. You know, like the
all seen
Barack
flies.
Obama clip where he like plucks the fly out of the air, and you're like, oh my god, he can do anything.
Yeah,
we could pluck these flies out of the air because they were the slowest flies. Like they were,
And there were just
like
so
tennis
many that
balls.
if you sort of pluck a point in the air,
Yeah.
chances are you'll get a fly.
exactly.
So we,
Okay.
This is genuinely awful.
You're getting like some
Running around
plagues
with
of
a butterfly
Egypt
net?
shit
Yeah,
going on
it's
in
biblical level.
This is terrible. This is
Riley hasn't spoken for like 10 minutes. He chimes in.
this is awful.
I
hate this.
Yeah, so we called Riley and he came round and was like, yeah, this is awful. guys. You can't live like this.
I am appalled.
Okay. I need a drink. Where's your wine cellar?
I don't understand how this didn't drive you to distraction immediately.
well, I think
It wasn't a nice flat.
we were lucky in that we both had girlfriends
Mm.
with nicer flats than us. You barely were in that flat at all.
No, I didn't really.
I
much time.
slept not there fairly
Legend.
regularly.
Wait, okay, so
Yeah.
the flies are around. Are you putting two and two together at all?
So I mean, it started
kinda.
off with a couple of weeks of us like buying fly spray. And we're
But like,
Sure.
I remember one night we just snapped. Like the three of us in that flat. My then girlfriend was in my room, and the three boys just had like 2 cans of Raid each. Like we were breathing. It was almost, I think we've got some sort of high from it. But then also our solution as well. This is also like, boys are stupid, aren't they? We just went. Instead of our solution was to never open that cupboard again, and we sellotaped the cracks.
We
of the door.
duct taped because we noticed all the flies were coming from that cupboard because that's
So
what
we
the
were
hole
like-
was into the floorboard.
Right, okay.
So we just
There's
made
a
it
kind
into
of
a
logic
coffin.
to that, actually. I can sort of see it.
But then it was like a plague pit, which you couldn't open it. We couldn't use the Hoover.
Yeah, yeah. There was like a.
You didn't think to take the Hoover out before you sealed
Well,
the
we never
cupboard.
used it before.
There was
We
like
didn't need it.
There was like a 9-month period on
He's
this.
like fucking
I
suffering
think he's
through this.
hyperventilating.
There was a 9-month period in this flat where we just didn't open the fly cupboard because it was like it was like a plague pit. And then when we were clear, Riley's very upset by this. Yeah, I'm so sorry. But then it came to the end of those 9 months, right? It came to the end of the 9 months.
A baby of yours, like, well, 9 months of not hoovering
Yes.
alone is insane.
Oh yes, but what? I was 21.
Yeah,
What do you want to
exactly.
say?
It's like what we're supposed to do, look after us. But then when we finally cleaned the place up and we were like, well, we got to because the only reason you can clean at age 21 is to get your security deposit back.
Yeah.
So when we did-
unfortunately,
That's not true. That is not.
Yes, it is.
That is not true. That is manifestly wrong.
fortunately, we tidied up just before the rat died, as I mentioned earlier in the story. So around about 9 months was actually when we were due another one.
I just, how do you even walk around without feeling dirty?
Because it was like it's like pots and it's like lobsters in boiling water. We didn't realize how gross it was until.
Oh god, it was so bad. I look back at pictures of that flat and it is like
It is so small. I can't overstate whatever size you're thinking of a flat for 3 people. Reduce it by half. It is so
and
small.
it
this flat.
had
Yeah,
all-
and there's also a cupboard you can't go in. That was technically bedroom 4.
On the floor plan, instead of like restricted height area, it's like restricted smell area.
Also,
Imagine
I
going
am-
round to
I
a
am-
guy's flat for a shag and he's got like a sealed cupboard. It's like, oh, is the Hoover in there? No, don't. No,
We don't open
no.
that.
I am
We don't open that.
genuinely appalled.
It does get worse because when we finally
Okay,
when we
alright.
finally opened that cupboard to clean up at the end,
Sure.
we took the sellotape off the cracks, and then there was like maybe 1.5 inches of just dead rats. No, not dead rats, dead flies all along the bottom of the floor because they could clearly just like collected in there, and then like it was horrifying. It really,
Yeah.
And we paid so much money for that privilege.
well, in hindsight, no money at all.
Well, yeah.
Really?
But also
Okay.
for the times.
Yeah,
really
you were
bad.
running
An
like
inch
a
and a half
death
of dead
camp for
flies?
flies.
really bad. God, I just want to
Shake us.
I want to go home and clean.
Over the 9 months, did the dead rat smell at the door disappear?
Yeah, I
it
think it
absolutely
is.
did. It absolutely did. But I mean, the trade-off was the flies.
Glade sponsor us.
But we also as well. We actually had quite a lot of parties in that tiny disgusting flat.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
afters and whatever.
No.
I think because we were incredibly central. We were like,
Oh, it's like
If I walked into that flat fore and afters, I would leave.
what do you mean? We've cracked open a bottle of wine.
I would
Well, that just goes to show that you're not a rat. Because
I would just.
the rats were like, oh, and they've put out nibbles.
I would just go.
But what? Oh, no.
I'd be like, no, I don't care that we've been now best friends for 3.5 hours in the smoking area. I have to leave. I can't be here.
I think you need to remember
You'd start
though.
cleaning, I think.
That there's like a 20% chance of
But
that.
you can, but you can access the cleaning supplies.
Could get
'cause
us
they were in
out.
the
Yeah.
cupboard.
Don't you dare go in that cupboard.
This is like a fucking saw trap. Like it's like the dirtiest flat, but all of the cleaning supplies are locked in the part of the flat that's so dirty you actually can't open it, or it'll make the rest of the flat
There
even
we go.
worse.
I think we figured out my saw trap.
Yeah. Everyone's got their inner saw trap.
like I for perspective, I have a ceramic induction hob that I clean every day.
Yeah, we didn't
And
clean ours.
I've been like that forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
It would be probably quite lovely to live with you because the communal spaces would be very clean.
So I always said that if ever people are sharing a house who aren't a couple, the best way to split up cleaning duties is just to do that via the money, the sort of symbolic equivalent of labor, and then just have a cleaner who comes frequently. But yeah, I'm also extraordinarily tidy.
Yeah, because I feel like I would just live with you, and then maybe like every couple months you'd give me a telling off for not helping, but it would be worth it because the flat would still be clean.
Yeah, I mean,
So I just like take it on the chin every couple months. Like, yeah, I should be better. Anyways, bye.
This week on the Patreon. Like a rotisserie chicken, a perfect snack. And I know that this has been said on this podcast before. I know Bella Hull, known for devouring.
But also, Riles over here.
yeah, of course.
Punnet of cold chicken thighs. That's more. I quite like a
What?
rotisserie chicken. The cold chicken thighs is ranked.
Yeah.
Chicken on the go.
That's to do with just sometimes being so hungry that my sort of stomach replaces my brain,
I like that.
and then I'm just like, I must feed immediately.
Yeah.
And I would buy cooked chicken to eat at home, but I wouldn't make it home because the hunger would be so. I guess my hunger was like your mess.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
so innate.
you're interesting in that way because you really like. There are two wolves inside you, Riles. Because like the tidy side of you is so much more tidy than the tidy side of me, but also the gross side of you is so much more gross than I'm like meeting you in the middle somewhere.
We're
Like
seven
I could
deadly
never
sins in
eat
right
a punnet
now.
of cold chicken thighs walking like
The skin.
But I'm
on
also
those.
I'm not glass cleaning the shelves in the fridge either.
Okay, what are our 7 deadly sins? So yours, it would be gluttony.
But also, I guess, pride.
Fair. Mine's the sex one. Which one's the sex one?
Lust.
And also wrath. I'm fucking angry as hell. I get angry. on
Lust and wrath,
everything.
good combo.
There's only 3 that.
Oh,
There's only
good
3
combo.
breakup
If only,
sex.
if only
Breakup
anxiety was one of the 7 deadly sins. the 8th deadly sin. Are you mad at me? You have to tell me if you're mad at me.
Like an undercover cop.
Yeah, exactly.
Sloth, envy. One more.
Well,
Wait.
sloth.
Sloth.
Sloth and, because you gotta give me 2, right?
Gluttony.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sloth and gluttony.
Sloth and gluttony, a great afternoon, to be
Oh.
fair. Oh, boy.
Oh, you ever been to the sloth and gluttony? Oh, one of the best pubs in London.
The scooter scorer. The sloth and gluttony.
The rats took up a storm at the Sloth and Gluttony.
Mate, it's the chillest pub in London. Everyone's just fully horizontal. They're eating just constantly those cheap supermarket jam tarts. It's great stuff. You actually get a jam tart with every pint. And they only do red stripe, yeah. It's sick.
What's the last sin? I don't know enough about.
Okay, we've got.
Avarice? What is that one?
Greed.
No, that's
Oh,
it.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we haven't had
Greed's
greed.
No, but it's avarice in a broader sense. It's not like food greed. It's like
But no one has said greed so far.
Well, we can share it.
You guys want greed?
Yeah.
sure we can. Well, I don't know about sharing greed.
That's him right there.
Come on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.